Here we are on the Euro New Zealand 15-minute time frame, and it's a trade I've just got in. I'm a little bit late, to be honest, because my wife was trying to book Gary Barlow tickets for 2 hours and she never got them in the end anyway. So anyway, this is very similar to a flag pattern. There's 3 of these today, probably because the news is happening, but we have a major rally down. We're following the channel up, and we just wait for the break of the channel. So it's very similar to a flag, but isn't a flag in my opinion. And we're simply just playing for a retest of the candle highs on this 60-minute time frame. That's it. That's as good as the trade gets. Stops above this double top that we formed here, which we very often see happens as we break out the channel, and so risking 28 pips for 51. And we're back, and we saw quite a nice move to the downside. We went around 35 pips up, but then what's happened is we've seen a retracement, and we've actually gone back into a raise now after being, I think it was something like 35 pips up. And it's very, very important that you understand psychology when it comes to trading, because for me personally there are 4 principles that I live by, and they're in order of importance, and it's psychology, it's risk management, it's risk to reward, and then it's your trading strategy. And your strategy to me is the least important part of trading, and that's because if you don't have the first 3, it's very difficult for you, sometimes almost impossible, to make money. Now for me, psychology is fundamentally the most important thing when it comes to trading, because if you haven't done your back testing, you don't know your strategy, and you're going to be emotional when you're in the trades because you don't know the win rate of that pattern, and so that will for the rest of your life have a psychological effect on you when you're in the trade. It will lead you to move your stops, move your targets, because you don't know the exact win rate. You wasn't too sure where to enter, you wasn't dead sure where your stop should be, and you know, you take a couple of these patterns and if you lose, it's just going to play havoc with your mind. So psychology is fundamentally the most important thing, and after being 33 pips up and going back into a raise, you're going to be thinking, oh good grief. But for me, you know, that just isn't the case. This setup that I'm in at the moment, I have seen it countless times, and not just in this pattern. It's where we also see any type of channel, and very often, over 40% of the time, we will see the market come and double top, just exactly as we have done here. And guess what happens with every double top? Scrap that, not every double top, but what happens with some double tops is we see a retracement, and guess what? That comes into another pattern. It comes into a 618 Fibonacci retracement, and from there we look for selling opportunities to the downside. So when I see this, in actual fact, when I see this retracement and I start to see that we move lower, I say to myself, well, look at that. We're actually respecting the Fibonacci, and if we come down here to make a new low, we're going to be in trend. We'll have a 3-point move, and therefore I stand a higher chance of the trade going on to win. But guess what? If the trade loses, I've risked 28 pips for 51, almost a 2-to-1, and I only need one other trade to come off and win, and I've earned my money back. And guess what? Euro Aussie, I'm in exactly the same trade. The only difference here is we never got a double top, but look at what price has done. It has retraced, wanting to worry you, to try to get you to exit the trade early. It's turning on you, and then boom, starts to make a move lower. And once again, if we make a move lower here on this Euro Aussie trade, I will be expecting targets to be hit. But I think it's very important to understand the importance of psychology, and that you will only see your expected returns once you've done your back testing, and once you know how to enter the trade, stop placement, target placement, and just be able to deal with that emotion that trading brings with it. So I really hope this trade goes on to win. Otherwise I've just ranted for no reason really, other than you seeing a losing trade. But that's the principle I live by. So we'll come back later on to this trade and see if we can make that new low and potentially get those pips out of the market. In front of you, I'm currently in 4 trades. To the top left we have the New Zealand dollar. It's a form of flag pattern breakout. The Euro New Zealand is exactly the same trade. It's a form of flag breakout. And bottom left, Euro Aussie, we'd actually come 1 pips from my target. And so what I've done now is, because we didn't actually make a new structure low but I'd come 1 pip away, I've moved my stop to 4 pips of risk. So that's not a break-even trade, it's 4 pips of risk. And on the pound yen 240 we have a flag pattern, and we had a big daily engulfing candle would come into the 149 flat. And so I'm having to record all 4 of these because we have news out at 7 o'clock. In fact, you can just see a little bit of volatility kicking in before the news. And we have a lot of news out. We've got the FOMC, 2 lots of FOMC, federal funds rate, and then a bit more news at 7:30. And I'm recording it because I only have 1 Camtasia, and I'm in these 4 trades. Now, I've checked my stop losses on all of them. I'll just run through just the video because we've only got a couple of minutes now until this news comes out. And if I zoom out in this one, we actually have room here to go for first and second targets. On the hourly, this was a double bottom, pull back for a 26.18. I don't play 26.18s, but I can use them as entries into other patterns. And we actually had this pattern here, which is a kind of a flag, and you play the breakout, and I can play for 2 targets here. On the Euro New Zealand, we had pretty much the same thing. We double topped, pulled back for 26.18, never made the new low. And obviously you can see just the sideways consolidation as a result of the news. Euro Aussie, same pattern, flag. This would be a 1 in 1 out. Got 47 pips up, needed to go to 48. If that thing doesn't win, that will be the 3rd trade in 2 weeks where it's happened to me and cost me just shy of 200 pips. This came 1 pip away, I had one that came 4 pips away, and I had one that came 2 pips away. And in each instance I've gone and checked the hourly, the 240, for structure, for the closes of the candles. In actual fact, I've already front run this by 3 pips from the closes of these candles down here. And there's just no reason for me to be a little bit unlucky, other than the fact that I was a little bit unlucky. You know, there was no level of structure, no even handled numbers, there was no fib cluster, there was no the closes of the candles on each of the different time zones. So we're seeing bits of a fluctuation here now. News should be out in a moment, and we could see a jump in either way. And so I'm just going to log into my phone as well, just to make sure that we don't have anything ridiculous happen with my okay, Euro New Zealand, been taken out of that. Rallying up on the New Zealand dollar. Euro Aussie is struggling a little bit. Okay, why have I been stopped out Euro New Zealand? I was nowhere near it. Why the heck has Euro New Zealand stopped me out? Oh, look at that. 28 pips. Why has it stopped me out there? Came up to here. My stop was up here. Look at that. It stopped me out 20 pips early, but yet not charged me anything. Just stopped me out 20 pips early, and the cost of the spread is 3 pips. Well, we saw a knee-jerk reaction there. The market, it's only a minute gone, just starting to potentially settle down a little bit. Now, it's so frustrating that on the Euro New Zealand, this was a potential winning trade for 51 pips, and it stopped me out 20 pips early. Okay, pushing up a little bit now. I just know Euro New Zealand is going to go and go ahead and win here. Okay, so targets hit here. So I'll move to break even. This hasn't taken, so I'm going to go ahead and close that position out. I'm holding for second positions on the New Zealand dollar. Highly, highly, highly frustrating. I just know that Euro New Zealand is going to go on and win. I'm going to have to speak to the broker regarding that, because I've actually checked the rates here, and there you go, it's now 1.5 and it stopped me out 20 pips early. Market didn't jump. Absolutely crazy. Well, as I thought, pound yen hasn't really been affected that much. We'll just hold a few more minutes and see if the New Zealand dollar can rally up to hit second targets. I'll pause the video and come back to it. Okay, I've just resumed the video. We're pushing up here on the New Zealand dollar. Just hit my... There we go. Targets hit. I did manually exit that position just in case we got a reversal. Euro New Zealand. There you go. Absolutely crazy. That was 3 for 3 winning trades, yet the Euro New Zealand stopped me out. I'll go back and rewatch this recording, but it must have stopped me out by 20 pips. You can see the market has not jumped. It didn't become erratic. I was logged into my phone at the time. It wasn't near 3 pips, and it's just gone on to actually hit now. Pound yen, as suspected, hasn't really done a great deal, but there we go. Anyway, I'll give my broker a ring and have a listen to what they have to say.